Hi, we're back.
After a really long time.
Guess who's back?
Just don't. Please, I swear to God,
Back
I'll
again.
turn it off.
What Combs back?
What?
Is the name of the? Did you forget the name of the podcast?
No, you're just making it really pathetic.
We should probably do some explaining.
University. It's a horrible place.
I mean, we had these big plans before Christmas. It was like, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. Trainspotting's coming out, and Star Wars and Harry Potter, and we actually started that episode like 3 times, and we had all these mental ideas. We'll do this summary of 2016 and what we're looking forward to in
You're only
2017.
18.
And it's now March, so yeah, I don't know. We've just kind of been putting it off for years, haven't we? And because of uni and stuff, we've just been too busy. But we're determined that we're going to do it.
I actually got a notification from our Facebook page
Yep,
the other day
Yep. Well, I was just going to say.
that said if you do not publicise this, it will be
Yeah.
taken down.
I've been paying my Podomatic subscription to where we upload this, since we last uploaded it in December, so that's 3 months every month, £10, £10, £10, and I actually get the email today, and then I saw that notification on Facebook, about our Facebook
And
page
it's
getting.
quite pathetic when you get notifications from Facebook saying the What Home has no followers.
Yeah,
Fix this. You're like, okay.
but to be honest, I just kind of created like the Facebook page and that as a formality. Like, don't know if you're listening, you might go and you do all social media things, you should do that, but I don't know, I just kind of do that. Do you know what I mean? I don't care, I just want to do the podcast. See, be honest, doing the podcast is the kind of main ambition. So, yeah, we saw a couple of movies over the last 2 weeks, we're just going to talk about them. I've been far too busy doing uni reports and all that sort of stuff to write any sort of reviews. 2 weeks ago we saw Logan, and last weekend we saw Kong. At this point, I'm pretty sure everybody else on the internet talks about Logan, so we're probably the last people to put up a podcast about it. But we thought we'd do it because it was a big deal for me. It's like the end of an era in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And it was a really good movie. I mean, I'm going to have to do some remembering because it's been a fortnight since we saw it, and I'm down to see it again because I'm sure there's loads that I missed.
Oh, it was a beautiful, beautiful film. Like, really, even if you don't like superhero films, like, this isn't a superhero film, that's the thing. It's not your stereotypical Marvel film. It's something so completely different, and it can mean something totally different to what all the other X-Men films have meant. Like, it could potentially be a standalone film. Don't get me wrong, the nostalgia they use within the film is really, really nice, and it does enhance it if you know what they're talking about. But at the same time, you don't need to know what they're talking about because it is really self-explanatory.
It's a lot happens in this movie, but it is self-contained. Like, this story has a definitive beginning, middle, and end. Even though it kind of is the start of the end almost. For Logan anyway. We'll do. By the way, I should have said we'll do a bit of non-spoilers and then we'll spoil it, and then we'll do the same for Kong.
Okay.
Logan, there's actually quite a lot to spoil. Quite a lot. Like, a lot happens in the movie. It's a long movie, but
it's 2 hours and 17 minutes. So, but again,
I didn't feel the wrong
it
time.
doesn't feel like it
because
at
so
all,
much happened.
It doesn't drag.
Even though it is kind of slow and depressing, it doesn't drag. If that makes sense, it's more.
It's not slow and depressing. It's like, it's calm and touching.
It's very like The Last of Us in tone. Very, very like The Last of Us in tone.
Minus the zombies.
And like the first song that they used in the trailer was Johnny Cash's Heart, and there was quite a lot of Johnny Cash in the film actually.
That's a good song.
And see, like, that song does summarise the tone of the film. See if you imagine that song being a movie, it's this movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, the tone of this movie. But yeah, I mean, should we talk techniques? Should we talk like the performances and the writing and the?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Well, first I kind of want to talk. Where did you think this takes place? Because everybody's talking about it, and I kind of think, like you said earlier, you're better just not really thinking about it and just taking it as a standalone.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Professor X died in X-Men 3, and then there was X-Men Days of Future Past where they were fighting the big robots and the world had like ended, and then
Yeah.
there was like there's Deadpool, which is like set in a different, even though he
I
talks.
feel like Deadpool's set now.
Yeah.
I feel like Deadpool is right now.
But I like how like this director James Mangold, he directed the last Wolverine film as well, the one in Japan. I like how though he's just went fuck it all, like who cares about the continuity, like just let's just make a great film. Like don't worry about everything that's happened before. And let's just make something that stands on its own. Which is really cool. It's the best X-Men movie.
Oh yeah. But at the same time,
it's hard to compare.
It's not an X-Men film.
It's hard to compare because
it's not an X-Men film.
Yeah. Yeah, like people are saying, do you prefer this or do you prefer Deadpool? But again, like I
You
don't
can't
think there's any
compare
comparing them.
No, not at all, really. I'm like struggling to think of a film that you could compare it to.
Have you seen that movie with Aragorn for Lord of the Rings? What's it called? What's his name? Viggo Mortensen. The Road.
No.
It's kind of like that. Logan was better, more exciting. The Road's like really slow and depressing, but similar in tone to that.
But no, I'm struggling to think of a film. It was so like that's the only word that I can genuinely think of for it. Is beautiful because it's just.
That's interesting to me because I think it's quite grim. What do you mean by beautiful? Is it the shot compositions? Is it the palettes? Is it the performances? Is it the writing? What do you mean by
all
beautiful?
of it. It's the fact that like there's so much love in this film. Even though they do deal with a lot of controversy and a lot of hate towards them and stuff, there is a lot, especially between Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman. There's a lot of love, and there's just, and you can tell when they were making this film, there was a lot of feelings about it. There was a lot of feelings about the performances and the fact that it would be one of the last times, because you never know, like, obviously you never know what's going to happen, but the likelihood is they two are never going to work together ever again. And they've now worked together for about
they're never going to work together
years.
on an X-Men film again. They might work together on another film.
Yeah, but again, they're not going to have that kind of... And they do... I mean, they were on Graham Norton and you could see the chemistry that they have as people. And that really comes through on the performances. The story, the fact that it's...
You remember the first X-Men film came out in 2000, so they have been working together for 17 years.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But, like, the shots of this film and the colour palette of this film and the score and the sequences, like, it was just a beautifully made film. You can tell that it's like a souffle. You need to be really careful when you make a souffle so that it's perfect and it's nice and you really enjoy it when you have it. So it's the same with this. You have to be really careful and you have to hold it with gentle hands because it is, as you said, it's the end of an era and people are going to have really, especially X-Men fans, they're going to have really strong feelings towards this film, the fact that Hugh Jackman's last and everything like that. And there is a lot of build-up coming towards this film for years when you knew it was coming. So they did have to handle it really carefully and there is almost, I know it's action packed, but after it there was that perfect silence. Like after the film finished, no one moved, and there was just that perfect appreciation for what had just happened. And it's you only find that with certain films.
Yeah.
It's like that moment when Superman flew for the first time and all the cinema stood up and clapped.
Yeah.
It was meant to be that he got a standing ovation
and
for
like,
a film.
And like 70s.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like Henry Cavill.
No.
I just don't clap from
Not like in the 70s.
Okay,
and like everyone in the cinema hall stood up and cheered.
Kiss Reeve.
That's pretty much the equivalent. Like that perfect. Just that's it. There you go.
I think in that sense this movie was interesting as well because like my mum hates superhero movies and I think she quite enjoyed it. She said she thought it was a bit long, but like this is a movie though that you could take. Just talk about movies that get standing ovations. You could take this to like Cannes.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Or like Venice Film Festival
Mhm.
or something, and it wouldn't be out of place. Like you couldn't
Mhm.
take like I like X-Men Apocalypse. I like the X-Men Days of Future Past. You couldn't take them to like a film festival
Mhm.
beside like La La Land and Drive and all these like
Mhm.
arty films. It wouldn't work.
It is a very
But
arty
Logan
film.
would like
Yeah.
Logan
Mhm.
would sit
Mhm.
fine with the kind of movies. But yeah, I mean, it's
You can tell that it's kind of Hugh Jackman saying goodbye to him, to Wolverine.
yeah.
You can almost see the person in his eyes, like saying goodbye to this character. And that's a hard thing to do. I mean, I've only done the one character for a run of a few months, like 6 months at the most, is the longest I've been in touch with a character. But it is hard to let them go, and he's done it for 17 years. It's been, he's done roles in between it, but it's been his primary role for 17 years, and he's built up a connection, and characters infect
You're
you.
okay, kids run up to Hugh Jackman asking, being like, he's the guy for Chappie. Do you know what I mean? Or he's the guy for Les Mis, or he's the guy for Real Steel.
Yeah.
Like, he's Wolverine, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and like, you end up putting so much of yourself into a character that there is also things that are already there for the basis of the character that you take into yourself as well. And he would be really infected with Logan, I think.
even though it was a heavy film and it was sad and it was emotional and
Really sad.
it was quite refreshing getting to see Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart actually being able to give performances and
act.
like really chew the scenery.
That's something
like
that I've seen too.
like Jackman, you forget because you see him in and he just plays hard ass Logan, smoke my cigar, killing bad guys like that. He does that so much, and then you see him in something like Prisoners, and you're like, oh shit, this guy is really like he can act. This guy is fantastic at what he does. But you forget because you're and I know Patrick Stewart's a bit different because he's been doing it for a lot longer and he's been on stage doing Shakespeare, and he's a bit more. I wouldn't say he's a bit necessarily a better or worse actor than Hugh Jackman, but he's
a veteran.
He's had a more varied career. But again, though, you see him just doing Professor X and just being that character, you kind of forget. And because they do so much with that character in this movie, giving him kind of Alzheimer's, amnesia kind of thing, and just playing with mental illness that a lot of older people have to deal with, it was. It's like the most interesting. I think it's the most interesting interpretation of elderly people with mental illness in a film, because I like it's a bit sick, but I kind of love that idea though. Like, what happens when like superheroes get old and frail and their minds start, especially if they're psychics and that, their minds start failing. And do you know what I mean? I love when you bring like a real situation, something that you could experience, like if you're an older person that was slowly losing it and things like that, and you bring that to this like mental world where people are turn blue and have claws and like psychic about and all that shit. I like when it's like Watchmen as well. I love how Watchmen combines like the assassination of Jeffrey Kennedy with like superheroes, and so that it's kind of similar in this way, but it's something more emotional, which was really cool.
Yeah, I really like that. Like, I know that I've not seen the whole film, but a representation of Alzheimer's that's really, really impressive is that Still Alice with Julianne Moore. But
I agree.
That is a film about a woman with Alzheimer's. This isn't a film about him with mental illness. His mental illness just happens to be
a point,
a point of it, and I think he does it so wonderfully subtle.
Yeah, because he comes in and out of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes he knows who he is, knows who they are, but sometimes.
Yeah,
like,
but he does it like it's not like I'm going to forget who people are now, or I'm going to remember who people are now. He does it in such a real way, but what is also a really interesting thing is it's the drugs that make him worse. Yeah. Because he stops.
Even though
spoilers, he stops taking the drugs throughout the film.
Yeah.
And that's when he gets his mind back.
Yeah.
But he also gets the seizures. He also gets the seizures, but it brings his mind back, which I think is really, really appropriate. Like, I had a friend who lost her gran last year, and they, like, that woman had her mind when she wasn't on these drugs, but she had a medical condition where if she didn't take these drugs, she would end up in a really, really bad state. So it's kind of that catch-22 thing that you keep talking about. Like, it's a vicious circle. If you don't take them, then something else happens, and if you do take them, then you forget who you and who certain people are.
I really like how they tackled the whole... Oh no, just what you said as well. Still Alice is a good example, but the whole point in that film is it's a... I know Julianne Moore is like 60 maybe, late 50s. But it's about a younger person dealing with an illness that typically older people get, whereas this is like a natural thing. Like, say, I don't know the percentage, but say like 40% of folk over 70 at some point will have Alzheimer's. I admit that may be a bit high, but whatever the percentage is. What age is she?
She's 56.
Oh, I used her up. She's still good for her age, for 56. But yeah, I mean, the point of that film was like it's a middle-aged woman dealing with it, whereas Patrick Stewart's in his 70s, so
he's meant to be. I think Professor X is meant to be in his 90s.
Oh yeah, he's playing like Jack. They both sound like Graham Norton. They're both playing about 10, 15, 20 year older than what they are.
Yeah. Because he says
Logan's
he's
like
90.
Late 50s, I think, and he's like in his 90s. I actually fucking 90.
Yeah. What was that?
That was my Logan.
Oh, stop.
My Patrick Stewart impression.
All the time.
Logan.
That's like no Gallagher with a sore throat. Shut up.
Alright, I can Logan.
Shut up. Oh my God.
Yeah, but when I was talking earlier about the continuity and stuff, I like both sides of like the continuity kind of war. I like sagas like Star Wars or like Metal Gear or like Tarantino movies, I suppose, to some extent, where it's all kind of one big story and everything connect. Back to the Future, do you know what I mean? Everything is like a continued path, and you can work out where the characters were in the timeline in your head. But recently, I don't know if it's because I've got older or I don't know. I guess it is that. But like recently, when George Miller got asked when he was making Mad Max 4, like Fury Road, is this a sequel or is this a reboot? Because obviously it's Tom Hardy, it's blah blah blah, and he was like, it's neither. He says, think of it like 100 years after the events of the film, and there's a bunch of people sitting in a campfire, and one of them's telling stories about this guy.
Told me that.
And I like, you can think about Logan that way as well. Like maybe like none of what happened before happened, and then in this movie they've got the comic books that are based on.
Says that.
So like maybe what we saw up till now is like
And
a fictionalized version
of
what happened, and this is the real world. This because Logan does feel like a real world. Do you know what I mean? Like a more grounded, realistic kind of setting.
You see more real places
and real people. Like like the civilians are more than just reaction shots. Do you know what I mean? Like there are no the other ones, or plot like rescue missions, like damsels in distress, and this one there's actually human characters. So yeah, I think that's an interesting. That's how I like to look at it. Maybe like it's like another 50 years after it happened, and like maybe what's her name? What's the wee girl's name?
Keane.
No, but what's her name? Laura. Maybe she's telling like her kids, or like if she's like the head of a mutant school or a mutant team, maybe she's telling them about this guy, and in each film, maybe that's why everything's not perfect in terms of the kind of because it's just somebody telling stories with this legend.
I'd quite like to talk about her, Daphne Keane.
I thought she was fantastic for her age.
I thought she was brilliant. She is. It doesn't want to tell me. Let me find out. I feel quite bad now, to be perfectly honest, because when I seen the she's born in 2005.
So she's 12.
She's 12.
Shit. Well, 11 when they filmed it. That was spot on. I said 11. It was filmed last year, so
yeah.
She was 11,
so she's 11, and
really impressive.
That really depresses
it makes us feel
me.
Old, yeah.
That really upsets me.
Yeah, so she's 10 years. She's a decade younger than us. If you were 10 when she was born.
I'm gonna break up with you. That really scars my soul a bit because she's given a better performance than I think I could ever give in my career, or have given in my career. Yeah, so I feel quite bad because when I first seen the trailer and seen she was like a mute and silent and broody and giving you that stare and stuff. I thought, they've got her because they couldn't get Millie Bobby Brown. And that's... But no, not at all, not even slightly now. Because yes, Millie Bobby Brown is extremely talented. She's a fantastic young actress. But with this young girl, she... Obviously in the film, she's silent most of the time. But just purely from her face and her actions and the slight noises that she makes, she is excellent. But then she starts speaking, and she starts speaking in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, what? And your reaction totally reflects Logan's reaction of, oh my god, you can speak. And she's like ranting and in Spanish.
Well,
and then she speaks English, so that not only is that an 11-year-old girl who is extremely talented and can act, is also
bilingual.
An 11-year-old girl that can speak at least 2 languages. And that is not okay. Because that's insane.
And I think that's her first film as well, isn't it?
I'm pretty
I think
sure.
it's only like shorts that she's done. She...
Yep,
I really liked how they used the... Like, what I was worried about... It sounds incredibly biased and ageist, but whenever I see kids in something, it just immediately puts... I'm just like, oh, it's gonna be shit. Stranger Things is the first thing that I've seen, thought that, and then just went, no, they're actually given...
Amazing.
I mean, the writing and direction probably adds a lot to it, but the kids themselves are really good.
The kids sort of alone are just...
So...
Like that.
So, I mean...
Gaten, what's his name? Dustin.
But the reason that Stranger Things worked in a lot of ways, I mean, it's a bit different for us because there was loads of kids in Stranger Things, but just focusing on 11, the young girl character in both, in Stranger Things, she didn't speak a lot. She didn't speak until like the 3rd episode, and even then it was like a line per episode, 2 lines per episode. Towards the end she did more, but at the start she didn't, and I thought that was used well because that wee girl was a good enough actress that she could just act with expressions and put character across and react to things without having to say much. They also did that with Laura, and that's like, I was worried that the Wayne was going to be constantly, and they didn't. They had her totally mute for like the first
half, at least.
I'd say like the first 2/3 even of the film. And
then the performance, like, this is where the spoilers is going to come in.
And that was worked very well.
But
yeah, and then when she burst out
our performance...
Or rant. Are we going to spoilers?
Yeah, well, I'm ready to say.
Right, okay. Rate it first. What would you give it?
I could really easily give it a 9.5.
That's mine.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Yeah.
I'm going with a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
I do want to watch it again.
I don't know, though. I don't know
that could go
what's
up or down.
stopping me from giving it a 10, though. I think I need to see it again to decide that.
And I know you're probably not going to like this because you don't like it when I compare things, but to me, the greatest superhero film ever made is The Dark Knight, and that's a 10.
But this isn't a superhero film.
Well, it is. It is. You can't say it's not a comic book movie.
I would rather watch this again than watch Dark Knight.
But I didn't think The Dark Knight was a comic book movie either.
No, The Dark Knight, no. Well,
that's why it's that's the reason
still,
it's so good.
It is still, because it's got quite comic booky shots in it sometimes.
But I think The Dark Knight's a solid 10, and I think this is amazing, but I mean, maybe it's just time, maybe it's just because The Dark Knight's had, it's kind of at this point, it's a classic, I'd say. It's like 10 years old. It's a big deal now. Everybody loves it. Whereas Logan's out two weeks ago. Do you know what I mean? It's not about had time. The dust hasn't all settled yet. I've only seen it once. Maybe that's why I'm not ranking it quite high in my head. But
I would put it above The Dark Knight, personally.
I wouldn't. As a film, I wouldn't. But I still think it was incredible, and I think it was just a wee bit kind of. It's not quite at that standard, but
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know what's stopping me from giving it.
That's why I would give it 9.5.
I don't know what's stopping me from giving it a full on.
But it is a near enough perfect movie. The writing, performances, direction, lighting, score, everything was
so surprised at
Stephen Merchant.
Yeah.
Playing Caliban.
Yeah. I had no idea he was in that, and then I seen a thumbnail on IMDb and it was his face, and I was like, is he in that?
Yeah.
And then I went and seen the film and seen that he was Caliban, and he was great.
I was worried it was going to be
cheesy,
comedic, like they were adding in a real heavy film. You need something to make
like
you laugh, kind of thing.
One of the most serious roles that I've seen him do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I thought that Boyd Holbrook, yeah.
I thought he was phenomenal. Again, I
He was
wasn't
really
sure about him. I was like, guys, I think it's his first major film. He's also really big in Hollywood because of Narcos, and he is good in that. But I just thought, I mean, that
He
is a
plays
goodie.
a goody two shoes in that.
What's he going to be like being a villain? And I thought he was brilliant.
Aye, I liked him.
Richard E. Grant was also very good.
Richard E. Grant
he just
was
plays,
always
yeah,
good.
yeah, he just
I
plays the character you
love
expect,
him.
but he was really good at it.
I love Rich. I have such a major place in my heart for Richard E. Grant.
He was
I
really good.
really like him. And I think that comes from like my childhood.
So, do you want to get spoilers?
Yes, I do, because I've got something that I really want to say about
Okay, if you've not seen it,
Wee Daphne.
skip like 10 minutes and we'll start with Kong, but we'll go to spoilers.
Yeah. So, my kind of favourite part that we got from Wee Daphne, that's what I'm going to call her next, can't remember her surname anymore.
Keen.
Yeah. Was when he was dying, when Logan was dying. And
Yeah, Logan dies then.
you already said spoilers.
But just,
and
some people might not have seen it and still be listening. Logan dies at the end.
When Professor Xavier dies, and she turns around and she sees him and she just screams.
Yeah.
But that's also partly because she's so angry because she was just kidnapped, like.
Yeah.
And there's the anger that's building up there that she's like, oh, why did they do that to me? And then it's the anger of they've just killed the only guy that's nice to me, and now I'm left with this guy who's technically my dad but doesn't like me.
Oh, you mean Logan?
Yeah.
I thought you meant the Boyd Holbrook character.
No. Now I'm just left with this psycho that's kind of the same as me, potentially my dad, but doesn't actually like me. We don't get on.
It does play on your kind of paternal instinct, so.
Oh,
you
yeah.
do, like.
Oh, yeah.
You think, like, they have to keep this girl. Like, if they don't, it's going to take away an experiment. And you saw
especially
the
when you've seen the rest of the kids.
The Guilty Orange Black recorded.
See when you see the rest of the kids and they're running through.
At the end?
They're running through the forest. You've totally dragged me off point.
Sorry.
I was going to talk about her crying. But I'll say this first. So when you see the rest of the kids running away from the baddie team in the forest, right? And see the wee black boy? He was running and you just seen him from behind running, and I was so I literally cuddled back in my chair and I just wanted to grab him and take him away from the badness that's happening.
I thought he was really fast for a fat kid.
You're awful.
I can run.
He was doing so well, but he was and you could really see the desperation in him when he was running.
The kids
and I just wanted to grab him and tell him that everything was going to be alright. Like, I could be doing a film in like 40 years time and meet that wee boy and still just want to give him a hug, and he'd be like 20-year-old. And I would
40 years time will be 20-year-old.
I don't know, but I would just give him a cuddle and be like, oh my god. But no, I loved that, and I thought the boy that played the kind of leader.
Yeah, the older boy.
Yeah,
Richter
or Ripper or something.
No, it was definitely Richt. It was either Richter or Rictus because he's a character from the comic.
It wasn't Tuss. I think it was Richter.
Maybe it was Richter then. He's in the comic anyway.
I thought he was fantastic. I thought he was really good. I really liked him.
Yeah.
But all the other wee kids, there was none that were annoying, and I love that wee black boy. I want to give him so many cuddles. Like, he was just, even when he was like speaking when like Hugh Jackman was lying in the bed and that, and he was asking where Laura was, and he was like, "Do you want me to go get her?" And I was like, "Oh!" But going back to what I was saying about Laura's performance when Logan dies, like, that's her just kind of finally accepting, you are my dad, please don't leave me. And I think anybody who has lost a parent, no matter what age you are, can register with that. And again, her crying was just so helpless. And her performance there, you really felt the helplessness coming from her. And I thought that was a really, really strong performance. I thought that was excellent.
Now that I want to talk about that as well. I want to talk about, now that we're at spoilers, let's just talk about major plot points. What did you think of the whole, what's her name? I can't remember the actress's name. Her that's in Orange and Black in Fear the Walking Dead. That Laura at first. And you thought she was a mum at the start. And she was coming to Logan when Logan was at the funeral and that. She was like, "You need to help me," and he was like, "Fuck off," and all that. What did you think of her, like, I mean, her character, she was just
Elizabeth Rodriguez.
Plot point, but what did you think of the whole, like, the experiment and the kids and like, I thought that was really harrowing. Like
Yeah.
seeing her getting her claws put in and seeing like them
Yeah.
beating them and dragging them and tying them to beds and knocking them out and
And it brought me back to the girl with all the gifts.
yeah, I guess
It brought me back to, and don't get me wrong, they weren't cruel to those kids in that film.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from when
they did something.
Paddy Constantine like spits on his arm and like
Yeah.
drives all the ones on the one side crazy.
Yeah.
But the scene in The Girl with All the Gifts where all the kids are running and they're just shooting them, that was
Mowing them
harrowing.
down, yeah.
That was, even though you knew that they were wee zombies,
Yeah, but they were like sentient. They weren't just like mindless. They were.
that was disturbing for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
That was something in that I didn't like. And this was along the same lines as that, I think.
Somebody pointed out. I did notice it at the time, but then I didn't care. Like how the video that she had in her phone was like edited, and like had like cuts and had like zooms and shit. And I was like, I did notice it at the time.
I
I was
think
like,
it was just wee clips like put together. though.
aye. I was like, this clearly has been done in After Effects, and she's might have just done it on her phone. I wouldn't really play out like that, but I didn't care. Somebody online put up like a big rant
people
about
are
how,
sad.
and I was like, yeah, fucking.
It is a movie.
But no, I thought it set up well. It kind of confirmed, like you'd seen the Boys Will Brook character and the Richard E. Grant character briefly before that.
I
and you were
kind
like,
of
these
thought
guys are
that
shady,
I
but when it
kind
showed
of
you
thought
that,
he
you
was her dad.
yeah, I
At
did
the
as
start,
well.
I
Yeah.
I thought he was her
Yeah,
dad.
yeah, and it was I
And
thought
I
they were
was
the
like,
parents.
oh.
Her fiance was black, and he was the
Yeah,
dad. Yeah,
yeah.
and he'd been experimenting with his kids. Yeah, I thought that.
But then when it wasn't, that added even more of an interesting, because I thought, oh, that's typical.
Yeah.
Like, he's after his Wayne. He might kill his Wayne, and that's horrific, but still kind of typical.
And then the next major plot point. What did you think of Xavier's death?
It was sad.
I thought
I thought he just kind of...
he went out
Died,
like a
though?
punk. Yeah.
He just died.
I mean, it cements the idea that at this point in his life, he's helpless. Like, young Xavier would have, like, seen and sensed him coming miles away and turned around and fucking blasted.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And managed to stop. But because... and the fact that he gave that speech about how it was the best day he'd had, and it was the best night he'd had in ages.
Oh.
And he was lying in bed and he was, like, thanking him.
Yeah. Oh,
And
God.
then he
That's
turned around.
sad.
And when it happened, I was like... I think I said to you, is this a dream? Like,
Yeah,
like
that's what I thought to myself. You said
dream?
that after the film that you thought it was a dream, and I thought it was a dream as well.
Yeah.
And I was like,
And then you
oh,
see
is
Logan,
he having
and then
like
it
a
flashes to
nightmare?
Logan and he's got short hair, and I was like, this must be a dream because he's got short
He
hair
doesn't
and he
look
looks
like that
younger.
anymore. Yeah.
And then it clicks that he was a clone. What really got me though?
It didn't click to me until Laura attacked him. But it's the
No,
way,
no, because even if like,
it's the way it sinks into his
it
chest.
does it pure slow.
Yeah.
No, but see, even if the real Logan did that, she would have attacked him. Do you know what I mean? No, I still
No,
didn't
but
click
I
to
mean,
me at that point.
the fact it
Oh, that
clicked to
was
me
that
it wasn't
dream.
a dream
Yeah,
when she
me too.
attacked him.
Yeah,
Yeah. I know he wouldn't actually do it.
But
And then how shiny, because you'd seen him struggling to get his claws out.
yeah, and how like new and fresh.
And how
his
new and
claw
shiny and how easy they came out.
What was I going to say? Something about Xavier's death.
Punk.
Well, at first I thought, okay, it's just a stab, like he'll be fine, like because that's such a shit way to die, like just stabbed in bed. I was like, nah, it can't be how he. I did think that Xavier might die in the film, but I was like, that's not how. And that's how he died, and I was like, holy shit, like fair play to
I
for
think-
pulling.
I think
Pulling
it
that
kind
one,
of
like-
showed that anything goes now.
Yeah.
You
This is
are
a
at
real
that stage
place
of life.
where if because that's the thing, in superhero movies, somebody gets stabbed, they'll be fine, like. Didn't get the head cut off or anything, they'll be fine. But in real life, if you get stabbed with 3 claws in the chest, you're going to die. You'll bleed out, like you will die. So I suppose it sets it more in the real world as well.
Mm-hmm.
I no, the bit that really got me though, the bit it was sad, but again I kind of expected it. The bit that really got me, see when Logan runs in and grabs him, and he goes, "It wasn't me, Charles. I promise it wasn't me," because like he knows it was the clone. I was like, fucking hell, like that's.
Yeah.
Like the one thing is that this guy, it's his best friend, looked after him. It just had enough and just went fuck you and killed him. That's what Logan's wanting. I was like, oh fuck man, I don't know, that pure got to me.
You kind of squeezed my leg a wee bit when that happened in the film.
Yeah, that pure.
And
like,
I don't think you
hit
meant
me.
it. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that was again the desperation.
Yeah.
The beautiful desperation that keeps
And
happening
again,
in all these
that's real.
different
Well,
characters.
that is what you would like. That's the thing. So many X-Men movies, it's hard to relate to, but when stuff like that happens, you're like, oh god, that's what you would like.
Yeah,
it
you
puts
want to
you-
make sure that he knows because you know he's
Yeah,
going to die. You know he's
yeah.
not going to survive it.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you can save him, so what else is going to happen?
Yeah. Yeah, that sucked. And then when they introduced the family, I was like, they're not going to kill them. Deep.
All of the
All of
family
them
died.
murdered
All of
horribly in the
them.
house.
Horrifically
Like blood,
massacred.
guts, like a horror film.
All of them gone. And then the daddy was brave and he
Yeah.
managed to kill some people, but
But
the
again,
rest of
I
them
like
were
how-
gone.
See when the dad had the shotgun on real Logan, did you think it was because he thought he'd done it, or was it because he knew it wasn't him, but he'd brought these people to the house, which he did?
I think he's just, again, desperation, but I think he's just a desperate man who lost his family, and he's seen what Logan done with the guys at the water tank.
Snaps the gun.
Right, he's seen that, so
Hopefully
he
he'll keep
knows
picking
that
someone
there's
else.
something slightly. When he's driving back, he knows
Yeah.
there's something slightly off with this guy that he's having staying in his house.
Yeah.
He gets back, and all of his family are dead, and now there's two of this one guy.
Yeah.
So I think there was a part of him that was like, "Am I going mental? Like, what is
I
going
loved
on?"
the bit where when he first met them on the road and they get the horses off the road, and then he's like, "This is my granddad. This is my dad, Chuck."
Yeah, that was a good bit. I like that.
But in a way, Logan was right. Like I'm glad. I agree that Xavier was on the road for days, and he did have to go and they had to have a good meal and a sleep. And I liked it as well. Like again, a lot of movies I skipped over that, like them having a sleep when they did, but it showed you all that. But
Again, showing you the more human
but if
aspect.
they kept on the road, they wouldn't have caught up to him, and Xavier would start. He would have maybe died later. But do you know what I mean? He wouldn't have died in bed like that. The family wouldn't have died. So Logan was kind of right that he wanted to keep. That he said to keep moving, but it gave us this awesome sequence in the film. So I'm glad that they did.
I'm glad everyone died. Sorry, nice family.
But yeah, I mean, I thought it was horrific. What did you think about the clone? Because that's, if we're talking about being a perfect movie, that's the one thing that
I agree with that.
I'm unsure of.
I agree with that. I thought the CGI was
The
brilliant.
CGI? Did you think it was it CGI? I know they used some CGI for.
Well, there isn't two Hugh Jackmans.
Oh right, yeah, they edited together. I thought it meant like CGI in his face, because
They made him look a bit younger.
I did wonder,
Yeah.
is that just Hugh Jackman's face with a shaved head, like what he does look like, and they've obviously put makeup on him to make him older, or is that being enhanced like Leia and Star Wars and all that? Is that been enhanced to make him look like Downey Jr. in Civil War? But if it is, it's the best I've seen it done so far. It's the best I've seen it in any movie. Michael Douglas and Ant-Man was the best, I think, the most realistic.
That was really good, actually.
But it was still a wee bit plasticky, just a wee tiny bit. But this, like, because I mean I'm an animator and I'm not even sure if it was CGI or not. I thought it was brilliant. What else? I don't know, the clone thing. Like, at first, the more I think about it, the more I like it. Normally in films like this, it's the other way around. Sometimes I see something I don't, and then I think about it more, that annoys me. But when it first happened, I was like, oh, clone, like. So, this wasn't a comic booky movie, and it's now became a comic book movie because of introduced cloning. I know Laura's kind of a clone, but she's more of a test tube baby. But like the idea of a full grown clone, it was very Terminator. I thought.
I felt like it was very necessary.
I thought, yeah,
because
well, that's the thing.
How else would they die?
That's the thing. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was just going to say.
That the fact that justifies it makes it okay for me.
Like to me, that's the more I think about it. Like the not only the physical challenge of fighting Hugh Jackman in his prime or Wolverine in his prime.
Aye, and now Wolverine's old.
The psychological aspect of that, like
of having to fight yourself.
He's always hated that side, the animalistic side himself, because he has been that before and just heartless and killing people. And now he's kind of past that. But to have that all dredged up, it is literally like his past catching up with him, like in a literal physical embodiment.
And that.
So in that sense, it's good.
That and the justification of it needed to happen makes it okay with me. See if it ended up that it was just there, just to put in so they could use the budget on some sort of CGI. Well, then fine, right? That's cool. That's your decision if you want to do that. But the fact that it's justified.
And as you say, it's the only real way they could have had a villain from. The only other way they could have done it, if they brought back Liv Schreiber as Sabretooth, they could have done that maybe. But who cares? Like,
do you want to do that? Yeah.
I
think they just didn't. I think, to be perfectly honest, I think they want to break all ties to that film. But
that is a shit film, but I thought he was good on it. I like Liv Schreiber.
I really like Liv Schreiber.
But yeah, right, that was a really bad film.
I like Liv and Pablo Schreiber.
But yeah, I don't know, the clone thing just... The more I think about it, the more I like it, so it doesn't bother me, but at the time it did bother me. I was like, is this where we're going? But then it didn't go the direction I thought it was going to go. And I like how it played with your kind of... Also, none of these cats are real. You don't get mutants or people that can heal. But you have all these rules in your head, like these... What Wolverine can and can't survive and things like that. I liked the fact that Wolverine was old and slowing down and he couldn't heal like he used to when he was younger. And I like how this clone wasn't finished. Like, wasn't... You could tell he was... Because he never spoke. He wasn't quite a full human being. Like, he was... So that's how, like, when he shot... Like, he got shot in the face with a shotgun and he was down and unconscious until Richard E. Grant put the thing... and that
stuff.
healed him. Yeah. Whereas, you've seen Logan in other movies take a shotgun to the face and, he just keeps running. Do you know what I mean? Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, he wasn't quite as powerful.
I like the fact that he wasn't perfect,
that kind of made them equal... Because if it was like Wolverine in his prime, like he would have just won straight. I mean, near every fight though, I liked that as well. They didn't have Logan win, like the younger one won. Like even though at the end he did die, he was winning the fight until Laura shot him with a bullet in the back of the head. Like the adamantium bullet was a literal Chekhov's gun. You knew that was going to come in at some point.
Yeah, you knew that was going to come in. I don't mind them.
Although it's kind of obvious, it worked okay. It depends how it's used. I thought it was used okay here.
I quite like Chekhov's guns in films.
Let's just talk about the big death at the end. I mean, the whole fight was literally just... Logan knew he wasn't going to win. The kids knew he wasn't going to win. It was just go and I hold him off for a while. I'll just do what I can, but using it to get across to Canada. Which is also cool because also Canada's where Wolverines might be from. I thought that was a kind of nice wee added thing. It's as if he's sending them home.
I like that. Oh, sad.
So, I mean, as I said, like X-24, the clone, like was kicking his ass and threw him against the tree, and the big tree trunk went through him.
It wasn't the fact that he threw him against the tree.
In the back of the head.
That was the thing. He didn't throw him against the tree. He placed him onto the tree, and that was more brutal. If he just threw him against the tree and he went in and it went through him, alright. It was the fact that now this clone has enough of a brain to realise I can place you again. And the fact that Logan was still struggling, and it was inevitable. That was brutal because you were like, oh my god, this is going to actually happen. And then he was like, oh my god, this is going to actually happen if I don't get out of this. And then he didn't get out of it. And that was a really big thing. And then with the daddy at the end.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a bit of a... Like, I wasn't that sad because Logan's death was kind of bittersweet because he wanted to die, he wanted peace. Yeah. Like, he's been living for like 200 years, he wants to die.
But no.
And the fact that he's done something with the end of his life, he's ready to die.
But he has something to live for now.
I suppose.
Because he's now got this daughter that now wants him.
Well, that's the thing, like, it was just... Yeah, it was the point that she started saying daddy, and I was like, fuck, that sucks. Like, that's when it really upset him.
This is what it feels like.
Yeah, when he went, that's what this feels like. What do you think he meant? Do you think he meant death, or do you think he meant, like, peace?
What Charles said in the house. Charles said, this has been the perfect night with a loving family.
That's right. Good food and
good food and a home. This is what a good home feels like. This is what a loving family feels like.
He said you should feel it, Logan.
You should feel this.
That's right.
And then he says, so this is what it feels like.
Oh, hi.
I was in tears.
I've not heard Andy say that yet.
Absolute tears. I was like,
there you go.
No!
That's a reason worth listening to this review. That's what you just said. I didn't even think you would have done. I didn't even pick that up. I'm not even patronising. And I've not heard anybody else say that.
I was like, oh my god.
That is probably what he meant.
And then it's...
Because when he said that, I was like, does he mean death because he's killed so many people and he's now finally experienced it for himself, or does he mean like peace because he's been wanting peace the whole time and this time at peace? But no, I agree, it's probably that.
Because the only other people that he's loved is he loved Rogue,
I guess,
Anna Paquin, and he loved Jean Grey. Those are the only two
think
people.
He's still I don't
and he loved Charles.
Would
obviously.
you say that he loved like Cyclops and Beast and or that was more just a kind of camaraderie?
No, it's not. It's more of a friend love.
Yeah.
It's not family love.
Alright, fair enough.
He was in love with Jean Grey. He felt that like Anna Paquin
was like a daughter at the time,
like a Wayne or a sister or something.
They had to protect.
And then Charles was a dad.
And then
And he didn't... You've seen that in the Terrible Wolverine film. He didn't have a good relationship with his actual family.
yeah, because he killed his dad, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then his brother was his brother.
He's a psycho, yeah.
That didn't go well. And so now he's finally got this family in this home, and he's like, when you're a parent, you have a love in your heart that literally can't be described any other way. You can't feel it for anyone else except for your children. And that was him finally feeling that love in his heart. That was the bit of him that was never there. He never got that family love, and now he has that feeling that breaks your heart. It destroys you. Do you know what I mean? And then it's there for a fleeting instant, and he's gone. But at the same time, he got to die feeling that way. So he finally gets that beautifulness. And there's that word again, beautiful. But he gets that beautifulness at the end. And then you kind of think, if there is an afterlife, he's living the rest of his afterlife with that feeling.
I really liked how the ex... Oh, he's an ex-man. But I liked how it was more than that, though, because, like, it's a cross, and, like, that's just some dad put on a cross. But he never really was religious. He never talked about being religious. So it was like, it doesn't really suit him.
Pretty sure he makes fun of Jesus.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't suit him, so... Yeah, it's like, he's not a holy man, he's an ex-man. And, yeah.
And then there is that connotation of, I'm a terrible Catholic, I can never remember the names of the saints, but the saints that get put up beside Jesus and get put on the X cross.
Well, that's why the Scotland flag's a cross, because Andrew.
Andrew,
So
there we go. There we go, Andrew.
I'm not worthy to be crucified the same as him, so turn it aside, die.
So it's almost like Charles was the god of it all, and then he was just the
I guess so, a disciple. Yeah, I guess so. And I do agree that they kind of had to kill him. Like, not just because it's Hugh Jackman's last movie, but what would the character have done? Would he have went to Canada and opened, like, a new school? And
would he have been a daddy? Would he
like, nah, kind of, like, yeah, he should have died, like, right in the border, protecting them and getting it safety. And that's, like...
doing what he does.
Yeah. He's the best at what he does, but what he does isn't very nice.
Aww.
That's his catchphrase. I don't know. I thought it was all very handled very well.
It was... I keep saying it, but it was just beautiful.
And it was like, we've literally grew up with the films. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was 5 when the first one came out, and I'm now 21, and that's what it is, like the end of the era. Interesting though where they're going to go next.
I know.
Because Deadpool's huge. They're not going to do it until that stops. Until they make a shit one and it stops making money. They're going to keep making Deadpool movies because the first one made an absolute fortune and it was brilliant.
It was hilarious.
So they're going to keep doing that. The McAvoy Fassbender films are pretty good.
I like those.
So I don't see any reason to stop them. They could, the way they're going to either get around it, they'll keep doing. They'll continue with that timeline, and they'll bring in somebody like Tom Hardy as Wolverine, and they'll just have a younger Wolverine, or they'll not have Wolverine. They'll just not have that character, or they'll do what I was saying earlier and keep telling
the stories.
Wolverine stories, but just
as stories.
As stories. Maybe casting a different actor and.
But casting.
But still having it
what
in the
could
same...
be interesting is casting a different actor every time.
That's what I keep saying about Batman. Sorry, this is off topic, but there's that all this shit that now it's happening with the Batman movie. He left his director. He might even be leaving his Batman. Blah blah blah. It's all going. It's all up in there. The universe is a bit of a mess and it's not even started yet, kind of thing. Why don't they just do what like the comics do? Like the comics, when a writer sits down to write another like story, Batman story. Okay, you've got all this stuff that happened before in your head. You've got the Gotham City and Joker. And you've got all this in your head, but you just write a story and you don't worry too much. Do you know what I mean about the rest of it? And yeah, and like he looks different. It's like Bond as well. They change Bond all the time. Like just give a direct. Just say to the director, here's have Wolverine. This massive character that everybody loves. Use any villain you want. Use any setting you want. Tell your own story, and just have people give them. Because how cool would it be to see a Tarantino Wolverine and then see something like I don't know, like Denis Villeneuve, like him had done Prisoners, like his version of Wolverine, or like Nicholas Winding Refn, him had done Drive, like, and then you would have all the different versions and they would be totally different and you could
and that is what
I thought that'd be really cool. Yeah.
That is what Alicia
Everybody
does.
that tells a story gives their own interpretation.
Either exaggerates it or...
Change it. Yeah, of course,
Is it Chinese whispers?
Yeah, exactly.
So if they had like...
It's like,
even
just talk
if
about religion,
it's
it's
the
even like
same...
religion, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Even
story
if
that's
it is
passed
the
down.
same actors that, like, McAvoy and Fassbender,
Mhm.
even if it is them
Mhm.
still playing
Charles
them,
and McNeil,
but it's a different movie.
Yeah. I mean, they'll probably do that. They'll probably just cast a new actor. The other question, I've been thinking about it, and I've got three in my head. I'm going to run them by you and tell you what you think.
Okay.
My first choice, and the one that everybody
Yeah.
seems to want, is Tom Hardy.
I like that.
Even Jackman himself said he got asked, and he said he would love to see Tom Hardy's version.
And Tom Hardy said he was extremely touched by that. So Tom Hardy's up for it.
And Tom Hardy smokes cigars.
You
Do you know what I mean?
don't
It's
say no
perfect.
to Hugh Jackman.
I would absolutely love to see that, because Hardy's one of my favourite actors, and he's a perfect age to play. Is he older than Jackman was when he started playing Wolverine? He's around the same age as Jackman. Do you know what I mean? So that's perfect. Like, he's at the perfect stage in his career, I think, as well. And he's not done. He's played Bane, but he's not done a superhero role yet.
Mm-hmm.
What about Joe Manganiello? I know he's been cast as Deathstroke for DC, and I know he is he's not much younger than Hugh Jackman, but I don't know, I think he would do a really good job as well. I can totally see him
I can totally see him all the time.
as Wolverine.
No, definitely. Definitely, I think. But saying that,
Wait, can you check his age?
he's 40
Oh, is that? Oh, I thought he was actually done that. That's good.
and Jackman's 48.
What age is Tom Hardy?
He's still in his 30s.
I've said I had three. I guess for Logan. I forgot the third one.
No wonder you had Joe Manganiello in your head.
Who was he? Was he 30?
39.
Oh, so he's nearly 40. Aye, so.
They're all roughly the same age.
But
But saying that, Joe Manganiello has already played a werewolf.
is that what he was in True Blood?
True Blood. He was a werewolf in True Blood.
Right.
So I don't know if that would be typecasting.
Mm,
But I mean, you didn't even know that, and you placed that.
yeah. I don't know.
Who was your third one?
I can't remember.
That's
I
really
don't
annoying.
want to stall. If I remember it later, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Right. Do you have any closing thoughts on Logan? We're nearly at an hour. Have you got any closing thoughts on Logan?
It was just beautiful. I've said it so many times, I just can't say it enough.
It was a very fitting farewell
It was...
to nearly 2 decades of the character.
I'm gonna go and cry now.
Right, well, let's cleanse the palate and talk about Kong, which we saw last week.
Yes.
Getting into this one, I had all sorts of. I didn't know what to expect,
Neither did I.
because they're taking this character that's always been like 1910s, 1920s era, and bringing him forward like half a century. How was it 70s?
Was it?
Yeah, it was just after Vietnam.
Yeah, I know that, right? But what was it in
Jack Black one,
the Jack Black version?
like the 20s.
Was it? It's been ages since I've seen that.
Yeah, it was like. Yeah, when they bring it back to New York and they've all got the old suits and the briefcases and shit, it's.
Okay, carry on.
So yeah, I mean, the fact alone they're bringing this character forward that much, the fact that they're kind of doing an Avengers, they're kind of setting them up to fight Godzilla and then to build this kind of wide monster shared universe thing. The fact that the biggest version of Kong we've ever seen, in terms of size. The fact that
And he's still growing.
the fact that it's been 15 years since, like in terms of the technology, the CGI, it's been 15 years since the last one.
We caught a glimpse of
Yeah,
the
they were
last
showing another one
one
on the telly, obviously, because that was
like
coming out.
2 weeks
I
ago.
know, that cartoon.
It was so
The worst
bad.
part is when he had her in his hand. See when he had Naomi Watts in his hand.
See, I missed that,
It
but
looked so.
to me,
that she was clearly in a big green crane.
like going,
Do you know what I mean? That they've just and it was.
that's
it
so
looked so
disappointing.
superimposed.
I
And that's
remember
not a bad film.
watching
It's
that
not a bad film.
It's not a bad film.
It's just.
I remember watching that film
Cartoon
when
era
it came
stuff.
out, and we got it on on DVD, and it was just when I think we had got like the biggest television we'd ever had, and it probably wasn't even that big, And we had like all my brothers and sisters round, and we made a whole big night of it. And like my wee nephews were there, and we sat down and watched it. And it was such a big deal, and it was brilliant. Like, and I remember it being such
Did you go see it?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah.
I remember it being such. I think we went to see it in the States. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Something's telling me we went to see it in the States.
Right.
And it was such a big deal. It was like such a revolutionary film. And see, going back, and obviously throughout the years I've seen it through rose-tinted glasses, because I did not remember it being that bad. See the bit where Adrian Brody's running away for the raptors?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ,
and
that was...
they were running between the legs and stuff.
That was so bad.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And then you seen Kong, and Kong's fur looked like it was wet.
Yeah.
The whole film, the whole time.
I mean, it's still, I'm sure at the time it was astonishing.
But then you have to think of... Then you have to think of Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park was way before that. And that, I know that was like some of that practical effects. But at the same time...
Yeah, holds up.
It was still... It still holds up now.
Yeah.
You still see the dinosaur chasing Jeff Goldblum and you're like, oh my god, run away, Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
But that was... And you think of the budget that was spent on that film, and it's 3 hours long. That Kong film was at least 3 hours long. I think it's like 3.5. Maybe not as much as that, but like 3 hours and like 15 minutes or something. It's a long movie.
Do you not think it felt long? Well, that's the thing about it. Like, whenever it's on, I'm like, oh, that's good, but...
I don't... See, when you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, okay, let's watch that, and then you end up watching it, and you're like, oh, I forgot how long this was.
But let's talk about New Call. Yeah, so I mean, you had all, and then the fact that this director is pretty much the indie director. He's directed TV shows and he's directed indie movies, so it was like, oh, no, I mean, that's what he done with Godzilla. They gave Garth Evans like a massive budget and just go and make this big monster movie. So it's an interesting tactic. And then the fact that like when the trailer started, then the cast got announced. And it was like John Goodman, Tom Hiddleston, and it was like, oh my god, they've got a brilliant cast. And then the trailers came out, and then like the tone that I thought it was going to be got thrown out the window when you saw like John C. Reilly like playing the Step Brothers character.
Yeah,
and you were like,
because they gave you the teaser trailers. They gave you the teaser trailers where you just seen like parts of him, and you seen the build up, and it's like, oh, scary,
the music
monkey
stuff.
film, and that's like awesome. And the fact that it's called Skull Island, like, this is going to be a scary monkey film. And then you see the trailer with John C. Reilly, and he's like, haha, you shouldn't have come here. And you're like, oh.
Is this what we're getting?
Okay.
I don't know. So and then I heard some reviews, people loved it, some people really didn't love it. Some people, like, I kept hearing, oh god, they make some weird decisions for a Kong movie. Like, even the taxi driver when we were on the way, he was like, there's bits in it, you think, god, this is weird for a Kong. And I was like, even the like, I've heard film critics saying that, but even he's saying
the taxi driver saying it.
What is happening here? Also, we went to see it in the IMAX, in 3D, and I'm not a big fan of 3D, but if you get the chance to see this, like, in the cinema in IMAX, I would absolutely recommend it. It's definitely worth going to see.
In either 2D or 3D.
On a big screen.
It is worth seeing the big guy on the big screen.
But let's talk about the actual movie.
I loved it. It's the most excited I've left the theatre in a while.
I know. You went on about it for, like, you went for dinner after it and you were talking about it.
I was buzzing.
It was exactly what I expected in a lot of ways. But there was some decisions that I was like, interesting. But not in a bad way. Like, I mean, let's just talk about predictable things. The score was fucking... I could have picked good music, right? But I could have picked it. You're doing the 1970s kind of almost war film. Alright, give me CCR, give me Bowie, give me like
the Jam,
Stone Roses, like it's Stone Roses, the Rolling Stones. Like it was just an easy.
I liked it though. I thought it suited
the Eagles. Like it worked.
I thought it did. I thought
very
it
predictable. And Sabbath as well. I like I love Vietnam era stuff, but I love Vietnam films. I love the Deer Hunt and Apocalypse Now and all these kind of movies. So I like to set of it. I like I like that time. Again, the music was brilliant at the time. The 70s was a brilliant era for especially American rock music. Aye, and then so it starts off. You've got these scientists, Humphrey Walton Dead and Strata Compton, Corey Hawkins, and John Goodman, and they're part.
I really like that boy.
And they're part of this company Monarch, which we knew in Godzilla was this massive corporation. And this, it's just like two guys that nobody's believing them and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool kind of seeing the grassroots of what becomes this, eventually this massive kind of military corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it was better than Godzilla. I just want to see that for the off. It was much better than Godzilla as a film. I would much rather sit through this again than Godzilla.
Oh my god, like a million times. Don't get me wrong, the ending of Godzilla was better than the rest of the film.
Yeah.
I think the ending of Godzilla still made you a bit excited for the next one.
Yeah. I appreciate how... I love when movies learn a lesson for the last one. Like, this is what, like, films like Batman... That's one of the reasons Batman v Superman pissed me off so much, because Zack Snyder learned nothing for the feedback he got from Man of Steel. I love when a studio or a director or a writer goes, right, okay, they like this, they didn't like this, let's change. And like in this, they wait maybe 15 minutes and you see the big monster, you see the monkey, and you're like, God, this is what Godzilla needed. Like, this is what they should have done. They shouldn't have waited till 40 minutes in to show you him. Like, so I appreciated that right away. That the movie had me on its side, because I was like, oh, they've learned, they've heard people, and they've listened to this. The CGI was incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Oh, outstanding.
That opening sequence with the choppers was fucking
and I mean, you see like
absolutely
the image
incredible.
of him in the trailer, right? And it's like the sun behind him, and you see him kind of getting up. Yeah. And you're like, whoa! But see, just seeing that in the context of the movie, I get goosebumps.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was so exciting.
Yeah.
And, like, I love monster movies. I love the original, like, well, not the original, but, like, the fairly backdated Godzilla.
Yeah, 90s, because it's a shit film.
I love it.
Like it.
And it gets you so
you make Godzilla
exciting.
T-Rex.
And I love Jurassic Park, and I just love monster, dinosaur,
see, and again, Jurassic Park's
primal movies.
Never been a big thing for me.
Oh, no, I'm a massive Jurassic Park fan. But it's just so exciting.
Did you like this movie better than Jurassic World? There's a question.
Yes.
Because I certainly did.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
People are saying they wasted a good cast because there was no character development. Right. One thing, you're not going to this movie for character development. You're going to see a big monkey smashing shit. Right. Two. You need to remember though, these actors are probably so fed up of not fed up, but
fed up.
Giving performances and doing serious stuff and having to really put their heart soul, and it's not like that. I mean, it's just as exhausting to consistently do that. See, just to do a stupid fun movie
and get to do all your own stunts and get thrown about by a big monkey,
and just make a big dumb blockbuster. It must be so refreshing. It must be like it must be so. You need to, like, fuck off. Let Tom Hiddleston and John Goodman want to make a dumb monster movie, then they're absolutely entitled to.
Just look at Brie Larson, right? She's just done that film Room.
She won an Oscar,
right?
Didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Oscar-winning actress. She's more entitled to do.
And you know for a fact that film,
blow some steam and do a dumb movie like
Room, took so much out of her.
Yeah.
And like, it would take so much out of any actor, any person that had to play a role and get into that mental state of being like kidnapped in a basement, having a child and having to hide it. That panic that you would constantly feel for as long as you were filming that film. And now she's doing that film with Cillian Murphy. She's doing Kong, and she's just having a good time. She's taking advantage of the buzz that she's getting after her Oscar, rightfully so, because I think she's brilliant. She was in 21 Jump Street, and I thought she was good in that. And I've seen her in a couple other stuff as well, and I've always thought that she was a pretty good actress. And I've not seen Room either, but I know for a fact that she would have been so good. From what I've seen of it, she's brilliant. And now she's taking that buzz and that kind of employment opportunity that any actress gets or any actor gets with an Oscar and going, you want to hire me? Okay, I want to do that. Will you hire me? Yes, please. And she gets a pick of the cherry cheese, you know what I mean? She really, really does. And I think any actor that doesn't take advantage of that's an idiot.
The one thing that kind of didn't. I'm not a social justice warrior. I didn't purely. Oh, I'm offended, but
Wow.
see the line where she goes up to the boat, like they're expecting the doc. That's it. No, the photographer, and her name's like, what's her name?
Mason.
Yeah, and they're like, "You're Mason. Mason's a woman," and she's like, "Last time I checked," and I was like, "Do we still need that in movies? Do we still?"
Yeah.
That's such a 90s thing.
But at the same
to
time,
do,
at the
do you
same
know what I
time,
mean?
it is based in the 70s.
I know.
And it would have been commented on.
I suppose. I don't know. I just
It would
thought
have
it
been
was
commented on in the 70s.
unnecessary.
Like, don't get me wrong,
I
maybe
wasn't
the way
offended, but
maybe
I
the
didn't
way they
care.
did it was a bit cheap.
Yeah.
Maybe they could have done it in a different way, but they couldn't not comment on it because they would have commented on it. She probably wouldn't have been allowed on the boat.
Mm.
At least they let her on the boat.
Mm.
In real life, she probably wouldn't have been allowed on the boat.
But I thought it was brilliant. There was not really much character. The one that had the most character development was Sam Jackson. He just went insane at the end. But it worked because you really wanted him.
He killed me in this film. I hated him.
Yeah, you really did end up hating him. But that's a compliment to...
You said I was overthinking
Yeah,
it when I said the monkey had a lot of character development.
Yeah, you totally are.
No, I'm not necessarily a lot. I think I'm phrasing it wrong when I say a lot. But he definitely has.
You were talking about because you saw the thought processes.
Yeah, you definitely do though. That's the thing. Like, at the start, you see, and this is really sad, but there was a Snapchat filter of him. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, monkeys do think. You see monkeys and documentaries learning from stuff. Yeah. So I don't see why he would be any different just because he's an extra big monkey. Like, in the Snapchat filter, you see him, like, shaking the helicopter for you to fall out the helicopter. It was really cool. It was a really cool Snapchat filter, and it reminded me when I've got an extra packet of Reese's Pieces and I'm trying to get the last of Reese's Pieces out the packet. He's trying to get all the things out the helicopter so that he gets rid of it. And I think he sees, like, animals see objects as threats, not what's controlling the object. Like, tonight we were walking my dog and a bit of paper blew across the thing and my dog wanted to attack it because he didn't know what it was.
Because of dumb shit.
and like, but that's what animals do. So he's seen the helicopter as this entity. Yeah. But then he's realised, no, there's something in that helicopter, I'm going to get it out. And he does it in the film as well. He does it to, like, characters in the film. He shakes it and eats them.
I love that
transition. And you see that happening. But then, when he's fighting, like, spoilers, he fights a really big dinosaur thing at the end.
Yeah, let's just go into spoiler for Colin, right?
And,
if you've not seen it, see you later.
You see him chained up, and he's getting really, really frustrated, and you see the frustration happening. And then you see him looking at the propeller. It's like the chains are attached to this big propeller. And he's dealt with the propellers when it hits off his arm. So he knows that it hurts.
When the helicopter propeller.
Well, the helicopter propellers cut off his arm, and he looks at them as if, "What are you?" and then throws them away.
I liked how at one point he might reach for it, and you saw him kind of flinch.
Yeah.
Like you do, like when you get one of these fans.
Yeah.
And you put your finger, like, you can't help it.
Well,
you go,
you do that. I don't know
like,
anyone else.
That's what a helicopter plays like to him. It's like, oh god, that's hurts.
Yeah, so it happens to his finger and it happens to his arm, and he learns from it. He then sees the propeller that's attached to the chain and went, if I hit this dinosaur with this, it's gonna hurt him.
Yeah.
And then, like,
I think you're giving a wee bit too much credit.
But what monkey do you know that throws and still keeps a hold of the chain? That was the thing. It's not like he just threw it and then let it go. He kept a hold of the chain and pulled it back.
I just thought he threw the big metal thing at the big bad
But if he threw the big metal thing at the big bad monster, he would have let it go like they do when they throw the shit at people. But he kept a hold of the chain and managed to... He seen the monster going to attack the people that he likes. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, and that's... I knew I was right. Because that's what John C. Reilly does. John C. Reilly says, when he's talking about the big bad dinosaurs, and then he's talking about Kong and Kong's mum and dad, and how they all attacked the people living in the village thing at first. And then they realised that they can only... like, Kong and his family realised the people can only help them. So they start protecting them. That's a learning thing. And then he's seen these new people coming in and realised they can only help me. So I need to protect them. And then he's learned from the propeller hurting his arm and hurting his finger that that's going to hurt this dinosaur. And if he keeps a hold of the chain, it'll pull the dinosaur away. animals don't think like that. Do you know what I mean? This is the extra human knowledge that monkeys have that has made him think like this. So he's pulled it away, and then he's managed to kill him with it.
Can we move on for the propeller?
But you're pure, like, patronising me.
Right, okay. Big monkey was very smart. That's my glasses. Down the side of the bed now.
Yes, they are.
I can't remember what I was going to say. Aye, we were talking about the sequence at the start with the helicopters. I loved. It was really exciting, and I loved the fact that his hand get caught on the blade and shit. And then I liked how, I liked the introduction of John C. Reilly. I liked the idea of somebody like that. Whoever had that idea of a World War II pilot, we see that at the start.
Yeah.
World War II pilot landed and then being there until the 70s. It's a cool.
And then
cool idea.
he obviously is the helpful entity to those that have just arrived.
Yeah,
on the
he's
island.
Mr. Exposition. But
Because without him, they would have just killed all those village people, or all the village people to kill them.
I like how dumb it made humans look though as well, like with the whole village, and then just all the big monkey beneath it. And I like how Colin was kind of pacifist a lot of the time, like the bit where he sees Toby Kebbell and he just looks. He was right in the water, and he fights with the squid, and he just looks at Toby Kebbell and just turns around and walks away. Or does he see him at that part? There's a part anyway where he sees a character and he just kind of looks at him. And there's a bit as well when he sees Tom Hiddleston.
And Brie Larson.
Yeah, and he just kind of. So I like how he doesn't. Like, only if you start dropping bombs, like John C. Reilly says in the trailer as well, like, you start dropping bombs in this guy in this king's kingdom, then he's going to come after. Yeah. So, and it's cool, that's kind of cool way of thinking about it, I suppose, because it's humans
and
are stupid. Like,
the thing was, you've seen his hatred for Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
You've seen.
But the
thing is, you did though. When he's lying and he's been, like, blown up with a napalm and he's lying. And he sees Sam Jackson, and you can see him going, I hate you. But this dinosaur's going to eat you, so I'm going to save you anyway. And then the dinosaur squishes him.
No, did Kong not squish him? I thought Kong did that. With his hand. He squished him.
Oh, that's a lot better than
I'm pretty sure Kong squished him.
But you see the hatred in him anyway. But he likes Brie Larson and Tom Hiddleston, but you see the hatred that he has for.
I like how they didn't retread what came before. They didn't do the whole, like...
lifting up Brie Larson,
well,
she's screaming, and I love you.
But they did pay homage, like there was the part where they felt the tribe people, and like in the original one they try and sacrifice her, and Kong comes and blah blah blah. They didn't dwell on as tribe people; they were just there, and they just they lived on this island.
And they were more helpful.
And then there was King Kong in chains. It's like the famous thing when he's taking back to New York, he's in chains and he breaks out and flies out the building and all that shit. They had that then when he was in the chains of the boat, so they referenced that, and they referenced there was a point where he had Brie Larson in his hand. I mean, it wasn't like carrying him out and being loved, but there was a part that she was in his hand. So it referenced.
And there is that affection that he has for her. He has more of an affection for her and a respect for Tom Hiddleston, I think.
I made a lot of callbacks to what came before. I was. When I went in, I was unsure what kind of movie I was getting up until the point. See where you see the island, I don't know if it was on a map or you see it for a distance, and it's in the shape of a skull. As soon as I saw that, I was like, "This is the kind of movie." Do you know what I mean? That's kind of movie. That's fine. My brain just accepted for then on it. My brain just accepted everything that came.
What else is it gonna be?
I don't know. I thought it would go a bit more serious. But I thought like the Tono Godzilla was more serious than Tono Kong.
Yeah, but then Godzilla was crap.
Yeah, but I thought.
And Godzilla's like a dinosaur film, so that can be a bit more serious. Kong is a big monkey.
But
there was also big cows.
But all the Avengers films, Thor and Iron Man, have the same tone.
Let's not go there.
Why?
Because it's not the same thing.
Yes, it is. They're building a universe.
Yeah, but like that's superheroes and this is monsters.
Yeah, but right, fine, whatever.
It's not the same thing.
I thought it would have the same tone as Godzilla because it's the same universe, and it didn't.
I don't know. I did think it was going to have a kind of. It was quite scary still, but I thought it was going to have, especially for a 12A.
I thought for a kids film it was really quite gruesome, man.
And
but I liked it.
And scary. It's not just the violence. Like there were so many times that me and several other people in our Roseanne behind us.
The older woman next to you just jumped.
Like kept jumping, but there was really like, and it was a bit that you didn't expect, and that was the scariest thing. You were just chilling, and then it was like bang. You're like ah.
I like to do. Probably didn't. Did you spot the Metal Gear reference?
Why did I spot the Metal Gear?
This guy, I think I've told you this guy's directing the Metal Gear movie, the guy that directed Kong. And when he got to the boat, he goes, "This is the Grey Fox." That's what the name of the boat is. Josh Ellis is the box of Grey Fox.
Okay.
It's Metal Gear. Grey Fox.
Yeah, I get it.
I thought it was cool.
I just thought it was the name of the boat.
Some of the sequences that were kind of out of left field, I thought was like, see the part where they're in the pit, it's the pit where Kong's parents' bones are.
Yeah, the mask.
And the gas thing goes off whenever it's green, and and he starts cutting through the pterodactyls. I was like, this looks like something for like an art house movie. Do you know what I mean? And it's in Kong.
Cool.
Like there was certain parts interesting in a good way. That's what I mean by it. I was like, oh, this is an interesting choice, but in a good. I mean, why not? You're doing a big dumb movie. You might as well make some bold choices.
Yeah, and you mentioned after it the cuts, especially when they attach like the gun onto the skull of the thing.
Yeah, that was very. I thought it was very Edgar Wright.
Cuts of that, yeah.
The way that when he puts the Gatling gun at the top of the skull, which was pointless because it just knocks him.
Yeah,
that
happens a lot. Again, I think that is though to show the stupidness of human beings. These monsters, technically animals, are still outsmarting.
Yeah.
The humans.
What did you think of the skull crawlers?
They were terrifying. The fact that they only had 2 legs and just a really big tail was mental. I didn't expect that.
Yeah. And I mean, I kind of like.
But it was cool, and they had like a lizardy face, and they had like.
I thought it was their eyes, but it was their nostrils, and then their eyes
were like so much,
and
that freaked me out. I was like, alright, okay, that's their eyes, and their eyes are black, and then like it showed you the side of their head, and I was like,
yeah, that's a nostril.
oh, that's really creepy. It was just like I don't even know if it was nostrils. It was just like craters on their face, and I was like, that was quite unsettling.
I liked him, but I don't know if I liked him as a replacement for. Like in the original, you had all sorts of different dinosaurs. Like in the original and in the Peter Jackson one, you had like dinosaurs. The long necks, you had the T-Rexes, you had the raptors. Oh, what are they called?
It's okay, carry on.
The Triceratops, the shell, like the ones with like pointy shells things. Like in this, it was just them. I mean, there was other monsters. But
there was dinosaur bones.
Was there?
Yeah, they had like I'm going to use a little like a Land Before Time reference, but they had like the 3-horn. Right. Skull, that was what they attached the gun to, was the skull and the 3 horns. So they had like dinosaur bones. So maybe there's been dinosaurs there before. Or maybe there's dinosaurs there somewhere else. Because it is hollow, remember?
But I didn't know if I liked the fact that there was just one type of the skull crawlers. I thought it was going to be the mum version was a bit bigger and had more teeth, I noticed.
But that wasn't even. But they do grow.
Yeah.
That's what John C. Reilly said. Like there just happened to be a big one that kept growing because it didn't come up. And again, that's thought process. That's we'll keep this one down here because that's the biggest of us now, and then it'll come up later.
You're not giving these animals too much credit.
I just don't think you're giving them enough.
What did you think of the big creatures? The big moose?
That is cool.
You hated the big spider?
Oh, get away.
That was the most gruesome part.
That was
when he turned around and the leg
cool.
was through the guy's mouth. I was like, and
that was like something at a sorority row.
And they held on it for a good
while.
Yeah,
and then you seen it, not only that, but you also seen it coming back out the way.
Yeah.
And the guy just slumping to the ground, and it's like, whoa, they just turned him into a marshmallow.
And I loved like the shit when he was pulling up Easy if you shot at Compton, and they started cutting legs off the thing, and then
that
was awesome. You were freaking out so much, but I thought it was awesome.
Oh, I was losing it in the middle of the cinema hall. I'm pretty sure if Peter Tomatoes was watching me in the film.
And you said like earlier how stuff goes out nowhere. Like I love how see the point where you thought like stuff was settling down, and when they were on the boat. And then they pick up the wee shitbag guy with the moustache. The pterodactyl things come and pick him up and just rip him apart in the air, and you see him rip apart in front of the sun.
And his arm goes like click, and it just comes off.
It was awesome. You hear him screaming like for a kid's film. It was really.
Because I thought like when you seen those wee pterodactyl things, you seen that they had like a kind of chainsaw beak. They had like all these razor sharp like spikes on their beak.
Sam Jackson was zooming in.
And I was like, how are they going to manage to use that? And then they just cut a guy's arm off. That was cool.
And then I was going to say something about the bit towards the end. God, I don't know. The last fight was cool. it was extremely violent. Oh yeah, Shea Wiggum's death really pissed me off. That's what I was gonna say. Like, I didn't feel deserved. I didn't feel like he was ready to give up and like kill himself. I didn't. There was no real build. You saw him looked a bit fed up when they were like, "Come on," and he was like, "Oh." Okay.
He was always ready to die though.
But he's a soldier.
Like when he was going down in the helicopter with the Easy guy at the start, and instead of taking care of himself, he was like, "Tell me how much you love your mum." So this was the last thing that he said if he died. And that is a soldier thing.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? That is somebody who's always ready to go and taking care of his brothers first.
I like how...
I think he just had enough running.
I like the idea that these guys, though... I felt they sold that well. These guys were tired. Even at the start of the movie, they were tired because they were just back from Vietnam. Like, they just pulled out of Vietnam at the start of the movie.
And they just wanted to go home.
Yeah, they just wanted... And then it was like, oh, right, we'll do this dumb routine science mission. And then it's like dinosaurs and monkeys and hell, basically. So I like that aspect of it. But then when he took his grenade belt off, I thought he was going to do something. I was going to throw the grenades or jump into his mouth with grenades. No, he just takes the belt off. He just smacks him with his tail. He hits off a rock and blows up. And I was like, it's a pure Boba Fett
again,
death.
though.
Like,
that is also showing the stupidness of human. This is a running theme. It's also showing the stupidness of human beings.
Because humans expect to go out like a hero.
Yeah, the dinosaur has seen that thing's going to hurt me. Bang with the tail, away you go. The same as it has with Kong.
Aye, because you knew it was going to blow up. Get away. Yeah. Again with the lyrics. Oh yeah, I was so cool. And then I really liked that part when at the end, I can't remember what Kong did, but he got the dinosaur down and he thought it was dead, and then it got back up, and he just grabbed its head, grabbed its tongue. Oh, I grabbed its tongue, grabbed his arm. That's what it was, and he just grabbed the tongue and like pulled like the insides out, like his intestines.
What I
thought
was, I'm glad they did that though. I'm glad they did this, but earlier on in the fight, you seen Kong grab both sides of his jaw, like grab the bottom, like his jaw and his
the roof
mouth,
of his mouth,
yeah, and pull, and I thought he's just gonna rip
it
him
apart. Well, that's
and then he didn't.
Peter Jackson's King Kong did that though. Remember the T-Rexes?
Well, then that's homage as well, is it not?
Yeah, aye.
Yeah, and then he made him.
Yeah, he was like the monkey was playing with John. That.
Yeah, so then that's homage as well. I thought they were going to do that, and then I'm glad they didn't.
Because it would have been a repeat of what came before.
And then the fact that they got to pull out all of his guts along with his tongue was pretty awesome.
It wasn't even the fact that after he pulled out his guts out, like he holds it and he lets like the rest of the guts just fall
out.
And it was like,
and you're like, oh yeah. Awesome. I liked how much when they were fighting, how much the Skullcrawler used its tail.
Yeah.
Which is what lizards do, obviously. Yeah. I liked that. I liked seeing how like he tried to keep wrapping it around different parts of Kong. Like he tried to wrap it around his back and then realised his torso was too big. Tried to wrap it around different parts of his arm, wrap it around his neck. And Kong kept being like, go after me. Do you know what I mean? And I liked that. That was good.
But yeah, overall, I thought it was solid.
I really liked it. I think it was
definitely watch
one
it again.
of my favourite films that we've seen so far.
It was like Logan was a great movie. Don't know if I'd say it's a very enjoyable movie because it's so dark and heavy. This is like
exciting,
pure enjoyment,
and it's fun,
just pure.
And you just escape, and it's
just switch your brain off and just watch the big monkey smash shit, and don't think too much about kid. I mean, you're not going to see an Oscar movie. You're going to see a monster movie. Just enjoy it for what it is.
And in my opinion, the monkey could win an Oscar.
And I like how again they've thought through. I like how they genuinely feel like they're thinking things through. Like when this came out, people saw the monkey. Okay, he's bigger than Peter Jackson's King Kong, but he's not big enough to fight Godzilla. And then you hear John C. Reilly saying he's still growing.
You've seen
you know that when he does fight him, he'll be
of his mum and dad, and they were bigger than him. So that's to suggest that he's going to grow bigger than that.
Well, I mean, because even if he does grow to like
the mum and dad size,
he's still not a third of the size of Godzilla. Like he's still going to have to grow more.
And then I liked. You didn't know if you liked it.
What's that?
After the film, I think, but when he sees the helicopters that have picked up, like Brie Larson and things.
Yeah, that was a strange ending.
I thought. It's like going away, and then you see it in his eyes, and he's like raging.
Yeah.
But I obviously mentioned to you that he's seen these things before, and these things have started to destroy his home. So he's now seeing them as a threat, and I think
But I
he's going to
hate-
try and chase them, and that's how he's going to get out.
I hate movies that don't have closure, and I hate, like, I don't mind
Well,
setting
of course
setting
not.
up,
It's going to
I
have
don't
a
mind
next
setting up the
one.
next movie, but the end of that story, like, was them flying away in the choppers. It didn't even need to show you Kong again. Like, it showed him a lot in the movie again.
But I think
fixing
that
what he
was
did
to
in Godzilla.
suggest that that's how he's going to get out. He's going to eventually see that these things can get in and get out, so can he get out?
I don't know. I just thought it was a bit of a strange ending.
I liked it. I thought it set it up quite well, because he's obviously seen this threat and he's been like, I'm not going to let them get away again, and he's going to try and find them.
But yeah, no, overall,
Maybe,
I enjoyed it.
again, I don't know if you're going to think I'm giving them too much credit. Maybe he's thinking the helicopters hurt his people, like hurt the humans that he just saved. Do you know what I mean? And then that's him going out.
One thing that's consistent across this thing as well was the sense of scale. I love the sense of scale. Like, see when he's got her in his hand, and it's like, if you're a peanut in your hand, maybe something bigger than a peanut, maybe like a
Cashew nut.
maybe like a spring bean, like a green.
No,
do you know what I
it
mean?
wasn't even as big as that.
Yeah.
It wasn't even as big. You're right with the peanut, because it was like that.
Yeah.
If that.
So like a long peanut.
It's not even as thick as my finger against my hand.
That was like the size of her in his hand. So I just loved the sense of scale. I loved the monsters, the big squid and the big spider. I thought it was awesome. And how many times did I just go, ha, awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's so much.
I think
and
everyone did.
that kind of sums up the movie.
Yeah, I mean, at
My
times
feelings
I
in the
jumped as
movie.
well. It was fun.
Awesome. But yeah, it's highly enjoyable.
Yeah, I like it a lot. What would you rate it?
Give it, let's see, I don't know. I'm stuck between a 7.5 and an 8.
I'm stuck between an 8 and an 8.5. Purely because of how enjoyable it is, and because I'm clearly more intelligent than you.
I'm being too harsh. I'll say an 8.
I'm going to say an 8.5, I think.
In terms of that movie,
The cinematography, the shots, the
like, I want to watch it again because I
the
like watching every movie
CGI.
at least twice. Like, especially after I've seen it cinema, I like watching it
Again. Yeah, me
in
too.
the house. But even past that point, if this was on the telly, I'd sit and watch it. If I was flicking through, I wouldn't sit and watch Godzilla again. Like, if I was thinking Godzilla, and I wouldn't watch Peter Jackson. I mean, it was on the telly that week, and I wouldn't sit and watch that again.
That was bad.
But this, I would. Oh, this is on. I would sit and watch. Like, I would leave it on the channel. So, I'd say an 8. Yeah.
I'm going to go an 8.5 because I was thoroughly excited by it. I'm clearly the more intelligent one here and can see the potential of the monkey. And I don't know, I thoroughly enjoyed the film. It's very rare that I like escapism films. Yeah. I usually like films that make you think and have meaning
I liked it
behind
more
them.
than I thought I would as well.
And I liked the escapism of it. And I liked how scary but not scary it was, and how violent it was.
It does what it says in the tin. I'm glad I heard the reviews before it, because I'm glad I heard people, even though I thought it was a bit snobby, people saying, "Oh, there's no character development." I'm glad though, because I didn't go and expect. I mean, I wasn't going to expect that anyway, because it's a Kong film. It's like going to Fast and Furious and expecting that. Do you know what I mean? But like, okay, I know that's not here. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you hear like a game that people. I'm just thinking of that game Watch Dogs, a game that people have been hyping up for ages, comes out, people slag it, but say, "Oh, it's still kind of fun," and then you know what you're getting, and when you get into it, you have fun, and I don't know. So in that way, I thought it was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
Okay, we've been recording for an hour and a half. Do you want to play a game, or do you want to call it a day for this week?
I'm never very good at games because you put me on the spot.
Do you want to play that game I suggested the other night?
No.
Why?
Because I'm not going to be very good at it.
I'll pick a really obvious one. I promise you.
No, you won't.
The idea of this game is I'll look up a movie on IMDB, and you can go on IMDB, you can go into the trivia and the cast. You can also go into the Parents Guide, which is a thing that if you're showing a movie to your kids that you've not seen, you can go and see if there's any sex or any swearing in it before you show them it. So essentially you pick a scene, a film that's got an iconic sex scene or an iconic bit of violence in it, and you read through the description, and the other person has to guess the film. Right. Okay, let me think.
I'm sure not going to be very good at this because you're putting me on the spot.
How am I putting you? Shut up, dude, stop being such a pussy. Right, okay, I've got one. If you don't get this,
Shut up. See? This is what I mean.
you will. You'll get it. Right, I'll read through the categories and you can
I wish you still had your glasses on so I could cheat.
pick. They're on the floor. Right. Would you like sex and nudity? Would you like violence and gore? Would you like profanity? Would you like alcohol, drugs and smoking? Or would you like fighting and intense scenes?
I don't know.
Pick one.
Okay, we'll go with the intense scenes one.
Really? Okay.
No, okay, I won't. I don't like your
Oh
face.
no, that's you get it.
Okay.
The main character's face is extremely disfigured, resembling a burn victim.
It's a Dark Knight.
This may be disturbing for some viewers. You only get 5 guesses, so that's 1 guess down. A lot of intense action or violence, but this action is mostly portrayed in a comedic or light-hearted way. In one particular scene, a man is tortured over the course of a few weeks. It gets increasingly more painful and stressful, and there's a reason that they're torturing him. If I tell you, I'll just give it away. The torturer, however, visibly enjoys it. These include electrocution, waterboarding, hypothermia, and painful drugs. He's also nearly choked to death. This is what eventually disfigures him. Definitely the most disturbing moment in the film.
I think I've got it.
Do I have a guess?
Is it Deadpool?
Yeah, it's Deadpool.
Yeah.
Well done.
It was just when you said like the hypothermia and
Well done,
stuff
baby.
like that.
So it's not even missing me, it's you. Well done.
So that was me.
You pick a film.
I'm gonna pick a really difficult one.
Thanks, I give you an easy one, you'll give me
I'm only joking, I'm only joking.
Don't pick like a pure obvious one, but don't pick one that's pure obscure. Pick one that I'll be able to get. Don't pick like Reservoir Dogs, like the ear thing. I'll get it. I'm not looking.
Can you see the reflection in my glasses?
I can see the light. I won't look at your glasses. I
You'll
won't
be
look at
able
your
to
face.
tell with the poster.
I won't look, tell me when you're on the parents' guide.
I can't find it.
It's under trivia.
Oh, well, mine it's like pure high up.
Oh, is it? Mine's is like, my trivia's like past the cast bit. On the other one.
It's above trivia. I got it. Okay. 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 Oh man.
What?
You're gonna forget this, right? Okay. So there's sex and nudity, there's violence and gore, there's profanity. Oh god. There's alcohol, drugs and smoking, and there's frightening and intense scenes.
Give me violence and gore.
Right, this isn't gonna like help you any, right? But I quite like this.
What?
There's 220 uses of fuck in this film. Okay, right, violence and gore.
Violence and gore.
There is violence through it. An off-screen man is shot several times and screams as a result. A woman... Oh, you're gonna get it from that one. Can I leave out that one? You're just gonna get it anyway. It's fine.
Just pass it out then.
Right, okay. A man is shot multiple times after exiting a bathroom. He is later shown dead in the tub. There are moderate amounts of blood on the bathroom door and on the man's suit.
I've got
Yeah, no, you did.
it. You can keep reading.
Do you want me to just read you the one that I missed out?
Yeah.
Because you're... Oh, I'm so annoyed. I should
Wait,
have picked
can
this
I
one.
get it first?
No, because I just want to give you this. Because you know it, so... Oh, no, wait. Right, okay, in case you don't have it.
Is it Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, it is. So, a woman snorts heroin, mistaking it for cocaine, and blood streams down her nostril for a few seconds. She later gets a large shot of adrenaline.
Right. Okay. I'll give you a moderately harder one, but it's not hard. You will still get it. If you don't get it, then yeah, you'll be fine. This is a good one actually. Would you like sex, nudity, violence and gore, profanity, alcohol, smoking, fighting, intense scenes? I would suggest violence and gore.
Yeah, I was going to go violence and gore because I went intense scenes last.
A man is tied to a chair and slowly engulfed in flames when a fire is lit under the chair. Several men chase another man. They catch him and then punch and kick him several times. His head and face is a lot bloody. A teen boy joins the fight, kicking and punching the attackers. One draws a knife and threatens the teen, but they are interrupted by the sound of sirens. Many are seen dead inside a flaming building. one man has his throat slit, other have bloody gunshot or knife wounds. We see the full body X-ray of a teen boy that shows many metal rod implants and screws used to repair numerous broken bones. Whilst this movie is violent in body, it has a comedic effect, and the violence is very unreal. There's not here. This one's not here, but I'll just tell you. There's a scene where they're torturing a guy, they're trying to get information out of a guy, and they put him inside a big microwave, like a big radioactive microwave, and he explodes.
Oh no!
And
Oh, I got
oh,
it!
shit.
Is it kick-ass?
Right done, Xavier. That's kick-ass. I thought you'd have got it for the teen boy fighting and the teen boy with the rods in his body. And...
I kinda... Now that you said the microwave
Kick-ass.
one, it put me to like the bones.
You can pick a harder one from me this time.
This might not be very hard, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Okay. It's better than leaving a weird, awkward pause where we try to think of maybe a
Yeah.
suppose. And we should probably start preparing this sort of shit before we start recording. But
Very possible.
then you lose the spontaneity of what we do.
Okay. Do you want sex and nudity? Do you want violence and gore, profanity, alcohol, drugs and smoking, or frightening, intense scenes?
Give me sex and nudity. We've not done it yet.
It's not very.
Is it rubbish? Oh no, don't give me that. Fighting intense scenes. Does that help me?
Sure.
Okay, go for it.
Right, I'm gonna miss out names because there's quite a few
Yeah, I did
names
that
in
for
this.
Deadpool. Yeah, that's right.
To outmaneuver his opponents, the character desperately hangs from his... Oh, you might get it from this. Damn! Oh! The character desperately hangs from his submachine gun's strap in a deep air shaft to get to a ventilation duct.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. The attempt is depicted from above and is clearly that should be and it's an unsurvivable drop to the bottom of the building if he falls. As the character makes his attempt, the strap is undone and he falls, barely managing to grab onto a lower ventilation duct and enter it to safety. This scene is pretty intense.
Now I know what a TV dinner feels like.
Yeah.
Right, keep going. I don't want to.
That's not fair. McLean. I said he's...
It doesn't matter. I knew it was Dara.
No! Well...
You're really not going to ask. You pick really obvious movies and then you give me the names of the main characters.
The character discovers the villains are going to kill all the hostages when they blow up the roof. He barely manages to drive the hostages back down. Dodges rifle fire from two trigger-happy FBI agents from a helicopter and escaped the roof himself before the explosive detonate and destroy the helicopter.
Read the bit about his feet. I want to know what the description of that is. About us walk across the glass.
Would that be in violence and gore?
Either a fright intensity or violence and gore.
It's not in fight intensity.
It's violence and gore.
So violence and gore is more than a dozen people are shot, often accompanied by brief instances
No, just read the glass bit.
of... Oh, right, okay. The character is forced to walk on shards of glass barefoot to escape after the terrorists shoot glass windows in the process of a gunfight. By the end, he is dragging his foot across the ground, and a large blood trail is seen. He is later seen getting shards of glass out of his foot. This isn't graphic, but the actual shard pulling is mostly off screen and interspersed with other scenes. Quite a lot of blood is seen, however.
It's the greatest Christmas movie ever made. Oh.
The literal quote for this from of profanity is 56 uses of the F word.
Sure, there has to be a lot of motherfucker as well. Because you be gay, motherfucker.
No, there's none of motherfucker.
Yeah, there is.
No, there's not.
There's at least two.
No, there's not.
Couldn't have seen
There's
the movie?
56 of the F word. There's 31 of shit. There's 3 of bullshit. There's 2 of shithead. There's 14 of asshole. There's 14 of ass. There's 13 of goddamn and 1 of Christ.
Well, maybe they've just included the motherfucker and the fuck bit. These catchphrases. You be
Well,
gay,
I'm
motherfucker.
aware, but it's not here. So
And then-
don't argue with me when it's not here.
And then Alan Rickman goes, Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. I can't do Alan Rickman, but he does it in his
Don't
Alan
do
Rickman
Alan
voice.
Rickman, it's just sad.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Stop.
That, but lore would be a good Alan Rickman. Do you know who's good at it? Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch is good at literally everything.
On that note, should be end this week.
Yeah.
Next week there's no movies out, so I'm not sure what we're going to talk about. We can either
Is there
talk... No, there's nothing out.
You mean like this week coming?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's Life out next week.
Yeah, you've got Beauty and the Beast, so I mean, we can... you can bring that up if you want. But 2 days aren't going to cinema. We can either talk about Iron Fist...
If you like.
What?
We can if you like.
No.
Thanks.
We can either talk about Iron Fist, but I don't even know if we've seen the whole season by then. We can talk about Beauty and the Beast.
What is Iron Fist?
That's the new Netflix show that's coming on this Friday, the new superhero program.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be part of Defenders. I showed you the trailer.
You show me a lot of trailers.
Or we can just do like an older subject. We could do. I'm thinking.
We could do both.
Well, either that, or I'm thinking. See, for everything we've missed since December, we'll do like 1 sentence reviews for every movie.
You're asking a lot of me here. I can make 1 sentence stretch quite a lot.
Yeah, so like maybe I like 2 or 3 sentences. You can do like a mini paragraph,
Okay.
and we'll do like Split and Trainspotting 2 and Star Wars and Harry Potter, and we'll do
Okay.
it.
Yeah, okay.
Everything we've seen since December.
Okay, that's it.
Right. Okay. Well then, tune in next week for that.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, I know it's been. I don't know how much you should trust it. It's been 3 months since we did it. Since the last time. Again, apologies for the long hiatus. We are kind of back. I mean, we're still at university, so
But we
don't
are
know how
also
consistent we're
alcoholic
going to.
students. So.
Yeah, don't know how consistent we're going to be, but we are definitely going to New Year's resolution. Be better at this. Be more consistent at this.
Yeah. Especially since university is depressing me, and
That's
this is
exactly.
cheering me up,
That's a good escape. So go and subscribe to the Walk Home. Download. The first episode I was Believe for this, and then it was TV in 2016. So if you want to download either of them, you can go to the Facebook page, go to the YouTube page, and if you really feel the need, then Facebook sends a Facebook message and asks a question, or if you've got a movie that you want us to watch and review, then
that would be awesome.
do that.
Please do that.
So
I like doing that.
yeah, and if you made it this far, well done. And if you liked it, feel free to tell your pals about it and share it and all that shit.
If you made it this far, thank you.
I know. I would have made that this far. Aye, that's us.
I think I fell asleep 3 times during that.
Aye, I'll upload this to Podomatic, and I might upload it to YouTube depending on how busy I am with uni stuff.
Yeah.
But aye, we'll leave it there. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.